Alright, I'm going to do an experiment with making sandals from natural materials and try to make them as uncomplicated as possible, because these would hypothetically be survival sandals if you had no shoes. And so I've posted on the Primitive Living Skills community on Facebook a couple ideas from other people, and this is my own idea that I'm just going to experiment with, and I'm going to see what happens. So the idea is that you're out in the wilderness and you have no shoes, and of course in Arizona everything hurts, everything is sharp, all the rocks are sharp, all the, everything has thorns and spikes and quills. And if it's summer and you're stepping barefoot on surfaces that don't have anything like that, like smooth rocks or sand, then of course in the summer here, that stuff gets so hot you can literally fry your breakfast on it. So your feet would be on that. That's a bad idea, right? So this is just an experiment, and what I'm using is materials that I've gotten literally from my own backyard. These are branches from eucalyptus that I'm going to play with, and I'm using curly raffia. And just in case you think this is cheating, this is actually a species of palm tree native to the tropics in Africa and Madagascar, and there's also one species of raffia that grows in Central and South America. So I bought this from a craft store because it's already processed and bundled, and the whole process is done. My experiment is not to make cordage. My experiment is to make sandals quickly and easily with things that you can find. So wherever you are, you would process cordage first, or find cordage of some kind. It could be the inner bark of a tree or a plant. If you're in a pine forest area and there's lots of stinging nettle, you could process cordage from the nettles and whatever, and you would do that first to come up with something that's equivalent to my raffia. Now I'm going to experiment. Just going to get kind of a concept of how massive my feet are. Get a concept of the width of my foot. So the wider part of my foot is going to be my reference. And boom, from that reference point, shoot, there we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay. The reason I'm doing it this way, so the foot's going this way and I'm cutting them lengthways, is so that there's flexibility when I'm walking, so the toes can move up and whatever. While I'm at it, I'm also considering using something like eucalyptus bark, because this is really tough. I mean, this is the stuff that's fallen off the tree and it's laying on the ground. And it wouldn't surprise me, I could do something similar with that. It may be that to be easier on the feet, maybe you split it down that way and section it up into smaller pieces and then have it facing down. And so that should give you some traction and not hurt your feet, because you don't have the sharp edge of the wood into your feet. This is all theory here, but I'm inspiring myself and I want to inspire others. So I'm going to keep cutting little rods for my shoe here. Based on the length of my foot, which is about here to here, the shoe is going to go from the end here to the edge of those scissors. And now I'm kind of picking the pieces that I think will go the best together. They're not the smallest ones. They're not too bent. If I have one that's thicker than the others, I'm going to kind of alternate. If they are bent, I want the bends to go the same direction. Okay, this is the crude foot-sized rectangle. And now what I do with it would depend on if I'm in a race against time or not. But I think I start the same way, either way, if I'm in a race against time or if I want to perfect my sandal. I take my first piece of cord Take the end, this is either the heel or the toe, and I'm going to fold this cord in half, wrap it a couple times around. So that's the start of a weave pattern, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop this cord around each branch, just loop it around. I'm squaring it up at one end. I'm going to make that end square as I go. I don't have to keep this bundle of sticks flat on the surface. All I want to do is make sure that when I wrap it on there, I push that stick up against the other one as tight as it'll go. So I want to make sure that these two sticks are close together when I wrap it. Because I'm wrapping this cord around each stick, the cord's ending up a lot shorter than it looked when I started. So I'm going to take another cord, I'm going to add it to that one, and I'm going to twist them together so that as I'm wrapping it around each stick, the second cord becomes part of the first one. Alright, I'm down to the other end. I've got the big one. It's either the heel or the toe, doesn't matter. So I'm going to wrap this around several times at the end. And actually, you know what? Put a little bow knot in there just to hold it, because I don't want that coming unraveled as I start with the other half of that cord. This cord started under, so I'm going to go over each stick. I would expect that the more cord I put into this design, the better it's going to hold up, because if I'm walking on rough surfaces, the cord's going to start breaking. So I would be, a better sandal, of course, would be a complete weave all the way through, all the way from the center out on both sides. Now for the most crude version of this sandal, I would just leave it in the rectangular shape. This is if I'm in a hurry, gotta move. I would put a line on the outside of cord, put a line on this side of the cord, and then I would add the thong straps, which I'm going to get to later. All right, I'm gonna cut these sticks now. I'm gonna just lay my foot on here, and my foot is the template, and I'm going to shape this now to my foot. Okay, I thought I could add an over-under pattern into this to save cord and time, but what's happening is that when I do that, it's drawing these sticks almost on top of each other. So now suddenly the size of my sandal has shrank quite a bit. My foot doesn't even fit on it anymore. So looping it is. This is why we experiment with this stuff and don't wait till we're out in a survival situation and then start experimenting because we have an idea or we've read something in a book or whatever. People who wait to experiment until they're out there are going to waste a lot of time and energy unnecessarily. You got to experiment while it's not an emergency. I'm holding it in place with my finger on the back. It's getting caught on the occasional knot there. So I'll bring it over with my thumb and my finger. Try to keep it in place. All right. So here's the basic sole. Now this can be the sole of a sandal, or it could be the sole of a shoe. Wouldn't really matter, it depends on what you want to do with it. And also, there's no reason not to put an insole in there. Some options for an insole might be a prickly pear pad. If you remove, of course, all the quills and cut it, you could do that before or after you put the straps on. Moss might be an option. Creek moss, Spanish moss, I think that's what it's called, the stuff that hangs down from the trees. There's a lot of options that you could use as an insole, depending on where you are. Oh, cattail leaves, of course, you could weave a nice little insole in there. But it's comfortable. I put my foot on it and it's not uncomfortable at all. So anyway, now there are loads of options for straps to strap this on as a sandal, so I'm going to experiment and play around with until I find an option I like for this. But while I'm at it, I was thinking, in case I wanted to thread a strap through, say, at the toe, right? I want to come up with some kind of a needle I can use out of wild plant stuff. So I've got various options. These aren't real stout, but it can be shaped easily into a needle. This is off of a Palo Verde tree. There's needles off of different types of cactuses and other plants. This is not a cactus needle. This is from a plant. There's a cactus needle. There you go. This is from a staghorn. It's from a staghorn cholla. I think just for the fun of it, maybe I'll play with this one to see what I can do with it. Alright, so that's kind of a funky looking needle, I realize. I don't know how well it'll work. That's the concept. I could probably make a better one. But I'm going to let the resin harden, and then I'll just see if this needle works the way I need it to. So this is where I want to put the thong strap through that'll go around my toes. Alright, well there's a makeshift sandal, and now all I have to do is make another one, and then I gotta go out for a hike and see if it'll hold up. The way it's strapped on looks a little scary.